Alrighty then, so these stretch marks and things that we all seem to have, what are they? How can we sort it out and take full responsibility for fixing it up? Well, people like to think it's fat. Guess what? Fat's a myth. If it was fat, it would be called lipid, or it would be actually be able to move. It would be in the mucous membrane. Mucous membrane goes from coccyx to nose. Anything that goes into the brain or into the bottom half of the body or outside of a V-shaped body shape is just excess mucus. So let's stay on track, get focused, because what is the stuff that's in mucus is a lot of toxic gunk, heavy metals, a lot of fungus. Fungus is apathy and distraction, so it distracts us from actually taking responsibility and fixing it. Kind of handy to know, and action. Because unless we take responsibility and full responsibility for what's in the bodily template, we're going to co-create it in our life. It's coming back to the receiver of the messages and thought patterns to the brain, and it will keep repeating. So if you want that, feel free. But and put it this way. Yesterday alone, after 5 years of detoxing, I had a tennis ball amount of mucus come out from reproductive system and urinary tract and bladder here. And there's a bucket load in there. So if you've been eating dairy for your whole life, like I have for 20 years with the milkman's son, then there's a bucket load. And full responsibility, guess what? If there's not muscle there, there's mucus. So if we've been eating mucus-forming foods and we're choosing to be, and our mind's choices have chosen us and resulted in us being obese, or especially morbidly obese, well, you're killing yourself. Because in that mucus layer is all sorts of drug residue, all sorts of gunk, all sorts of environmental toxins, the works. All the nasty crap that the body hasn't had the ability to get rid of is stored there. And that's going to keep us dense and insecure and attract a whole lot of nasty stuff in our life. We don't want that. So, I'm funking it up, as usual. So, what I've got here is a beauty spot mole removing pen. So you switch it on. I'll put on 1 for now. And as you can see, I've got lines here that I've been working on already. Hopefully you can see that. And it's a little zapper. So obviously, if we've got a tension anywhere in our body, our nervous system cannot realize what's there, because the thought patterns are being blocked by that tension and won't come back to the brain. And this is why we don't see as much of the universe or have a high level of consciousness as we would like to. Because the way energy works through the body, or prana, means it's going to find an imbalance and then project that light into your world, and you co-create from that place. So when I had a terrible liver and gallbladder, I co-created a lot of angriness and a lot of angry situations and people and a lot of competition because it was liver and spleen imbalance. So I fixed that up now, and I don't have that in my life. It's quite wonderful. So, because the mucus is essentially a blockage to good nervous system conductivity, and therefore messages back to the brain, this is why, hugely morbidly obese people, they're really slow and dense. And a lot of rugby props, they're all forwards, they're very slow and dense. Give them a new idea, they go, no, I don't like that. And they go back into their stories because they've got a lot of parasites in that mucus bucket load, like hundreds of meters of them, and they're constantly repeating those same stories. And they're just not good people to talk to because they have no presence. They're always coming from their place of the past stories, and they don't realize it until you get to the third eye awakening and enlightenment. You're always coming from your past stories because the body's too dirty. Simple. The body's not in a good condition. So we've got to own that if we want to grow, or we just die from it. That's how it works. So I'm getting the beauty spot mole removing pen and finding these white lines, which by the way have quite remarkably changed. A lot of them were going across, they're now pointing down because I've got a lot of blood flow going down to the feet to get rid of the heavy metal density and the toxins and sugar and fungus and fungal infections like gout and things like that. And well, if we can see, now I've got, like, every week there's more veins popping up that have been refilled that weren't available in the past because there's more blood flow because of opening up the hips and getting rid of fungus and all sorts of gunk. So therefore I'm actually more grounded. Proper grounding is blood flow and nervous system conductivity in the feet. how it is. So I'm going to zap along this line just a little electrical conductivity, because the nervous system isn't really functioning in that area because there's a lot of gunk in the way. So I'll just like tap along it, along those lines. On one's easy. I'm going to move to 2, so it's a little bit stronger, a little bit of current, and that will zap that and send a bit more electrical conductivity through those particular imbalances, so we can get that circuitry back online, and then we can feel more safe and secure and comfortable, and we don't have to attract a lot of victim-slave mentality. Because guaranteed, if you haven't detoxed rectally, and ideally for years, we've got a bucket load, and I mean meters, sometimes tens of meters, of heavy, dense black mucus plaque in our body, and that's keeping us connected to the matrix and as a slave mentality, and you will attract people who are going to just want to shock you with drama. Drama is created in the life because there's a lot of low vibrational density in the body from black mucus plaque and heavy metals and gunk coming back to the brain. This is also the cause of depression and sexual assault and all these different problems, because you're attracting it because you need drama, because the bottom part of the body's nervous system and circuitry is not functioning. There's no nervous system there, you can't feel it, it's subconscious in the body. So you'll end up attracting a shock to get your life and your reproductive system and your coccyx and those bottom half of your body back online. So if we're not exercising, we're not shifting our lymphatic system, you're going to get a shocking life. You're going to attract it, and guess what? Own it. It's the only way. Otherwise, you're prisoner to it. So I'm zapping along that line, and I'll just do that as an example. And then what I'll use afterwards is nascent iodine. If you've got any iodine, will good, but nascent is just goes into the molecular structure a little bit better. And I'll tap that on, because iodine is brilliant for removing heavy metals and just detoxifying. So we absolutely 100% need an iodine supplement in our lives, because if you don't, your body won't be, your thyroid won't be able to detoxify. So it is. We've got so much environmental toxins, up to 100,000 this year, known environmental toxins, and we're growing by like 8,000 a year. And that's the one, you have to know about it to test for it, because that's how science works. You need a hypothesis first and be able to find something, otherwise completely blinded by their own perspective. Very limited, that science, in those people. I'm also using healing pine salve from the, it's got, what I love, it's pine gum, turpentine, beeswax and olive oil. So pine gum turpentine has a lot of anti-yucky stuff properties, but especially for critters and fungus, because it has terpenes in it, much like the eucalyptus oil and tea tree oil. And another great option that I'm loving, and I'm pretty sure that this black seed oil I've been using for the last maybe 5 months. I'll probably be using that for the rest of my life, it's that good. And I'll rub that on as well. So this is known in Arabia as a panacea, or a blessing oil. So I'll be rubbing that on, and it has something like, you can get it from the health food store, about $35. I got this one on iHerb, and it is absolutely wonderful. Doesn't taste the greatest, but well worth the benefits. And that has a lot of antifungal properties, as well as about 100 long list of beneficial properties. So I highly recommend black seed oil for absolutely everybody. So, and last night I didn't sleep too well because I had I've had so much, I think it was about another meter of mucus come out of this particular area. And it's only because I've got the top part of the body pumping and firing with mastery biochemistry and 5 years of detoxing now that I'm able to focus on this area. So the 6-pack's coming along good, turning it into an 8-pack. Because when we get rid of our parasites and our gunk, we return our own energy to our own body, we can focus on ourselves, and then we can give and share to others, from a much higher place. So much better. And we have significantly longer longevity, and our kidneys can bring up the gunk from the rest of the bottom of the body. And that's huge because people with black eyes have got terrible kidneys and they've got a bucket load, probably 2 or 3, of black mucus plaque in their bottom half of their body, and therefore the kidneys are completely unable to pull anything up, so it just degrades and decays and is absolutely filthy and disgusting, and people don't live past 70 or 80, and they don't actually live or thrive, they exist, and they will always be connected to the matrix and a victim-slave mentality, attracting drama and chaos in their lives. Who wants that? Bit of zapping, getting rid of some fungus and cleaning out the gunk for magnificent vitality, spiritual development, personal growth, and longevity. And the other one is super sexiness.